See how that one goes. Basically. Yes, indeed. I think we are live. I think I'm there. I think we managed it. Excellent. Yeah, love it. Cool. Whew. Bit warm. No sound, only joking. I flipping hope so. I can't believe that. I went in via StreamYard, no sound. I went in via YouTube, no sound. So the only thing I can think of is that I have the laptop itself on some kind of mute. Don't know how that's even possible. You're there already, are you? Well, if you can give me a couple of... oh no, it's not what I was looking at. It's not what I was looking at. So, hello everyone, hello Lorna, hello Chris. Just because you can see me nips doesn't mean I'm a side. Just thought I'd get that out of the way. So, how the bloody devil are you then? What we got? Hello Belfast. Just nipped in for a few minutes. Some of us have to work. Where are you working, Bank? I've forgotten. I've absolutely forgotten. I know you told us what you did, but I've forgotten. Bit subliminal. I wasn't going to bother doing the subliminal until I woke up this morning, saw a comment from somebody having a go at me over the subliminal and trying to correct me over what the word subliminal means and all the rest of it. And I just think, do you know what? I'll use it again then this morning if it's going to wind you up. So a bit subliminal. I haven't come on to specifically say anything, so it might be quite a quiet show for a little bit. Hello Nanny. I feel a bit better today as it goes. I feel a bit more, you know, I ain't got anything to say. I mean, I ain't got anyone to fight, but as it were. But I do feel a little bit more able to take on a few people, which I wasn't able to do over the last couple of days. So if I'd have come on over the last couple of days and got hit with some of those people that have been coming on, leaving comments and so on and so forth, and messages and emails and one thing or another, then I don't think I would have handled that very professionally, to be honest. So I thought, well, I just needed a couple of days break. I needed to get some time. Thank you very much, Nanny. I need to take some time out. And so I've just spent a little bit of time in my garden and a bit of tidying up, a bit of sorting about, reevaluating things. So, you know, what with the situation being what it is, like a lot of you, I'm in there looking at, you know, we are looking at doing things like growing tomatoes and one thing and another because, you know, I don't know whether whether any of you have thought of this or not. Hello, Andrew. Don't know whether any of you have thought of this or not, but you know, when you go into the supermarket and you see all the fresh fruit and vegetable all there like that. Well, on the one hand, I am right up for buying it fresh, not in a packet, no single-use packaging and all the rest of it, right? However, it becomes a worry, doesn't it? What do you do? What do you do? Because, you know, someone could walk past there with a virus, sneeze, cough, whatever, and you've just contaminated, what, 500 pieces of fruit and veg. and then someone comes in, like me, buys a tomato, or like Fran, buys a tomato, gets a virus, comes home, gives it to me. Got to think about all these kind of things. You know, I just went up to Gary's this morning to get some milk, and I'm give the lady some money, and she's giving me change, no gloves, no protection, no nothing. Gardening is what keeps my mum going. It helps. It helps. Hello, Richard, and there's lovely jubblies. Yeah, so we've given a bit of space in the garden. I've made some compost bins out of some old dustbins. The brown garden waste bin, the council have said they're no longer going to collect every week, so none of us can get rid of our gardening waste anymore anyway. We have to all deal with it ourselves now. So, and I had 2 bins picked up, emptied every week. I have a lot of gardening waste here. Big garden. So, or fortnight it is, 2 bins every fortnight. So I've turned 5 bins into compost bins, and all of my waste will now be composted. All of my food waste will now go in there. Cardboard, paper, it'll all go in there. Pardon me. On what you call a no rules composting, and I'm doing no rules gardening. Essentially, I'm looking for the easiest, the cheapest, and the fastest way. We had our garden bins emptied last week, but now stopped it. Yeah, I'm going to stop it all across the country and put the resources into emptying the rubbish and the recycling and all of that. So what I'm looking at, because of my health and because of the state of me and all the rest of it, I can't do proper gardening, not anymore. I used to love it, but I can't do it. So I've got to go for what is the easiest and the easiest route. And I've been looking and doing it. If you look at my YouTube history, you'll see I've been doing a lot of searching. And if you're interested in any of this kind of stuff, have a look on my YouTube history if you see it publicly, and you can see what I've been looking at. Have a little look at some of those. You know, some really good stuff there. I'm only looking for the good stuff. Some off the table. I'm only looking for the good, the easiest ones to do. And and I don't see anything wrong with the no rules compost idea, because at the end of the day, everything rots down to one of 2 things. It rots down to powder or it rots down to water. And if I rot the stuff long enough, it's going to create loads of horrible gunky water in the bottom of the bins, and then put a couple of air holes in, maybe at the top, not at the bottom, because I don't want the water draining out, and then get one of them taps, put an hole in the bin, screw the tap on, drain off all the goodness in the water that comes out of the bin. That's the idea. Hello, Stevie. So that's the idea. That's what I'm looking at there. Hello, Ian. Nice to see you, mate. And thank you very much, Ian, for your message. I really do appreciate it. So that's the idea without that. So things like, for example, growing tomatoes. Did you know? I didn't know this. Did you know it really is as easy as taking a soft tomato, right? Take one that's like, oh, I don't really want to eat that, it's a bit soft. Slice him up. Pretend that's your plant pot, right? Slice up the tomato. Take a slice of the tomato that's got a couple of seeds in it. Put it in the plant pot. Cover it with a bit of earth, bit of water. That's it. Any shop bought tomato. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. Slice it, have a bit with a couple of seeds in it, put it in the earth, bit more earth on top in a pot, bit of water, leave it. No rules tomato growing, leave it. And you'll get a tomato plant. And apparently, it don't matter, according to the information I've been watching, it don't matter whether or not that's whether plum tomato, beef tomato, mini tomatoes, vines, you name it. So I think the idea there is, you know, get a load of different tomatoes from the supermarket, slice up a couple of each one, plant a lot, and then eat what grows. So I'm looking at doing the same. So I'm turning half the garden now into a bit of a vegetable patch, and I'm not one for doing all that work, you know, vegetable growing and one thing and another. So I've seen other people doing allotments and growing veg in the garden. Of course, a lot of work. So you've got to do it nice and easy. You've got to do it so it's not back breaking, it's easy, and you can just do it. Here's Popcoin. Yay, hello Uncle Ian. I hope you're feeling better, mate. Thoughts of helping out, and you've got my Barnet working overtime here. Anyway, a bit out of my bucket. Thank you. That's nice. Bit tired. Why are you so tired? Have they called you back in? Are you one of the recalls then, Steve? Have you got to go back in and stuff? Or are you just not sleeping too well because of the pain and stuff? Hope you're all right. Yeah, so I thought after getting up and off, no, on the list though, always tired, fibro, yeah. Oh, sorry for that, mate. Mean that. I was going to say something and I forgot what it was. Hang on, I'm going to have a chuff. I'm going to have a chuff. 1 minute. So anything that can be growed, I'm having a go at growing it. It will save on money and all the rest of it. And it will also, you know, cut down on a few of the expenses that I have to pay out now. Funny thing about me vaping, so as me and John, right, both smoke like troopers. I go up to see my brother Nick up in Hertfordshire a few years ago, and my brother gets me on the vaping, tells me all about the vaping, shows me the vaping, and I'm like, yeah, I want to pack up smoking. So he took me down a vape shop, bought all the gear, got it all, started vaping. Showed John, he wasn't too keen at first. Then he started vaping. He immediately packed up smoking. Immediately. It was like overnight, boom, gone. And he took to the vaping like a fish out of water, like a fish in water he did. Like a fish to water he took to the vaping. Straight on it he was. And I was sort of mostly on it, except I'd have a couple of smokes in the evening. And then I had all the illness and everything. And as much as I tried to smoke less, I'm going through that stage of the more I try and smoke less, the more I think about it, the more I think about it, the more it makes me want to fag, and I've got that cycle going on. But I was vaping quite a bit. And then you see, I'm not liking a lot of the stories that you're hearing, Steve, about, you know, you see it, the people just, lighter explodes in their pocket, in their face. Do you know what I mean? I mean, of all, you know, you ain't going to get that with smoking a fag. So, just got by my nose. That's it, I'm back. Oh, I've got a little bit of tea left for a bit of subliminal. No to 288. And I believe you can still get one of these from teespring.com/no288. Apparently you can still get one of these there. And Butch the money will go to Butch, but that's all right because he's owed a bit anyway. So if you wanted one of these, the couple of quid profit would end up going to Butch. Hello Angela, nice to see you. How are your parents? I hope they're okay. Hope they're doing all right. So I thought, well, having a couple of days off and seeing some of the comments that people have been making with reference to the information I've been giving out and so on. And no matter how much I try and be transparent, and no matter how much I try and be sort of clear and upfront and honest and all the rest of it, you know, you still have people there calling me a liar and calling me a crook and one thing and another. So I thought, well, all right, let's give them a chance then. Let's give them a chance to have their say. So hence why I put on the title, no rules or free for all or whatever it is I put on a title, is just to say, like, well, come in and, you know, if you want to say something, come in and say something. There's been a few unpleasant comments left on there, which I expect, because there are those people that like to come out of the woodwork and kick someone when they're down. In the last few days, you would have been kicking a bloke when he was right down. But today, you can come in, you can have a little throw a few punches, you can kick a bloke, and I'll take it and I'll answer you. You know, and there are one or two people that are giving me grief on the comment section and feeling like they want to almost put the dirty laundry in public. And so I'm going to say to you, don't matter who you are, don't matter whether I owe you a fiver, or whether I owe you £5 or whether I owe you 50 grand, it doesn't really matter. If you're going to go on the comments and make it public, I have no problem with that. But then we will deal with it in public. What we won't do is we won't have some of you going off, dealing with it all public and wanting to say unpleasant things, and then you email me in private to get your own personal arrangement. No. I don't play them games. So you want to dirty me in public, no problem. We'll still sort you out, everything, best I can, same as everybody else, but we're going to sort you out in public. And then that way you can have your public. Then they won't get sorted out, will they, Dave? Dave says, bet they won't come in. I bet they won't come. Some of them will. Some of the unpleasant people will, but they won't last 5 minutes because I'll make them look that small. So, you know, yeah, they can come in at me. I mean, one of the comments was, you want to give your stock back to the investors, right? Now, let me tell you, and I answered that comment this morning, and I can't remember what I said, but I answered it something along the lines of, not a single one of the investors have said, can I have my money in stock? Not a single one. Not one. So what is that person expecting me to do? Is that person expecting me to read the mind of every single person out there? Because I ain't no good at that. I missed that course. I was going to take the course, but I had something else on that day, and I went and had a cup of pint instead and a coffee. So I missed that course. So I'm not very good at mind reading, know what I mean? Can't read somebody's mind. So in order to have a sensible conversation, those people will do it publicly. And that way you can make me look as stupid and as small as you like, and I will defend myself, and I will make whatever offers and reparations and deals and whatever that I can, that I'm allowed to make, that I think I can make, whatever. But we'll do it live. And then everybody can see when I deal with that person or that other person or that other person that's not been very nice, everybody can see that actually that person who's given it lots of this is actually getting sorted. And then that person can't go off and give it loads of this and tell people that I didn't sort them when I did, which has happened before. So we won't go down that road. You want to make it public? I'm happy. We'll go public. But I promise you, you won't like it. Hello, Ailey. Nice to see you, lovey. Chris says he sneezed this morning and his PC started a virus scan. Like it. There's so many funnies coming out at the moment. There are some really good ones, you must admit. I mean, you know, that time of in adversity and all the rest of it, and laughing through it, there's been some corkers over there. And some great songs. I put one of them up on my page where there was this, the first one I came across, there was this young girl did a song. I thought it was really good. So we have 20 people in here. We have 9 of those. Don't know how many of them we got. Got quite a lot of them lately. People don't like transparency. Don't know why. There was a film, it might have been called A Few Good Men, and there was a scene in that film with Jack Nicholson where he said, you can't handle the truth. And you know what? There's an awful lot of people that can't. There's an awful lot of people that cannot handle straight up truth, honesty, transparency. They don't like it. Transparency and 11 thumbs ups we got. Wait, 23 watching. Nice. Transparency frightens people. Truth and honesty frightens people. That's why the government can't tell you the truth, can't tell us the truth about what's going on, what's coming. You know, the government gave the figures of 6,000 dead. I gave you the figures of 10,000 dead. When this is all over, you look at the date of my video where I said 10,000 dead and look at what the statistics actually turn out to be for that date. And it will be closer to 10,000 than it is 6. You know, the truth that you don't get told by the government, on and on and on and on and on. You can't tell people the truth because it will cause a panic, so you have to put a spin on it. If I said something yesterday, which in the video I did yesterday, which is that being transparent in business and telling the truth in business is not done. It is not the way that it's done. It never is. If you have transparency and straight talking and dealing in business, then you lose an absolute fortune. Things don't happen. For example, Apple. I mean, you can't have a better example than that, but it's just one example we'll talk about. So the Apple phone, right? The Apple phone wouldn't be here if it weren't for lies and bullshit. It's only because of lies and bullshit that that is in existence. Otherwise, it would be called something else, and it wouldn't be called an Apple iPhone. And if none of you know that, I'll give you the short version of the story in layman's terms. I think it was Steve Jobs. So you have a bloke called Steve Jobs. Is it Steve Jobs, the one that did Apple? I think so. So anyway, he has lots of controversy going on. He's got this company going on, and he loses and gets fired or outed from Apple, which is his company. They get rid of him. So he goes away and he invents a new company, and he invents a new product, and it's called the black box. That's what it was called, a black box. Nobody knew what was in the box. He just gave a load of bollocks and bullshit about what this box would be able to do and what he thought and everybody needed. Every school in the country, every university in the country is going to buy this box. It's just a box, it's just a black box. But every school in the country is going to buy one. And he took hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds of investment. And at the end of the day, and he had people working on all sorts of stuff. And at the end of the day, people worked on everything to do with that black box. Everything. They worked on sales. They worked on marketing. They worked on design. They worked on absolutely every single little tiny piece of a commodity that you can think of in order to make it and sell it. And every bit of that had work done on it, except one area. Inside the box. Inside the box, there was nothing. There was no box. It was just a box. There was nothing in it. But nobody knew that. Steve Jobs did. Nobody else knew that. Nobody knew that everything else around this entire concept was real, apart from the fact of what was inside the box. Because inside the box, there was nothing. There were no wires. There were no components. There was no computer. There was nothing. Hello, Caspers. But Steve Jobs did a really good job. He made everybody believe that there was something inside that box. He even made Apple believe that there was something inside that box. So much so that they then went back to him and said, tell you what, come back and bring your box with you. Come back and we'll do it all together. So he did. And he bought everything but what was inside the box, because there was nothing inside the box, just an idea. And that idea turned into Apple, iPhone, iPad, iPod, and all the other I's that they've made. And that's what that turned into. But it would not have happened if it wasn't for bollocks and bullshit. If he'd have told everybody that there was nothing in the box, he would have got no investment. Apple would not have asked him to come back. He would not have taken control of Apple. And he would not have developed and made the iPhone and the iPad. Simple mathematics. 2 + 2 = 4. Wouldn't have happened. But because he bullshitted his way all the way through, and imagine that kind of stress on a person, the kind of stress that that man had to deal with by lying and bullshitting everybody. And everybody believed it, and they put a lot of money into nothing, and then they made Apple believe it, and all it was a complete and utter con, and he set the whole thing up for no other reason than to make Apple come back to him and say, we want you back, which is exactly what they did. So there's an example of being honest in business would not have been the right thing to do. Yet everybody that invests in Apple, so many people think Steve Jobs is a god, or was a god, or whatever. I don't even know if he's still alive, presumably. Right? So many people think the man is a god, but he lied and he bullshitted. Someone else left a comment. Another comment about, I wish I had these comments. Feel free to bung them up if you see them, Chris. There was a comment there from somebody saying something like, and the reason I'd love to see that, I'd say to Chris, yeah, bung them up, is because I don't care mentioning the person's name. I think you all know that by now. I don't care calling somebody out. So, what was I going to say? Yeah, so there was a comment there about my previous failed businesses and the fact that I've had failed businesses. You mustn't trust this man because he's had failed businesses. Is that a fact? So if anybody's had a failed business, they must not be trusted. Is that correct? Is that what you are saying? Because if that's what you are saying, then people like Richard Branson don't deserve to be there. They shouldn't be there. And according to people like you, Stephen Branson is a crook, and he's this, and he's all those bad things. Why? Because he's had failed businesses before. He had failed business after failed business after failed business. And his last and latest idea was the record shops. And he had no money. So he went to his parents, and his parents put up the equity in their house because they believed in their son, even though he'd been under and under and under and under. He'd gone bankrupt, owed thousands, gone bankrupt again, owed thousands, gone bankrupt again, owed thousands. And there's a lot of people that didn't like him very much because he went bust and bust and bust and bust. But his parents bailed him out. They lent him the money from the equity of their house. They raised it for him on a remortgage, and off he went again, and he started the record shops, and from there onwards he never looked back. Now we have Richard Branson Airlines and trains and planes and trains, planes and automobiles, almost. So another example of straight, honest dealing, not quite what you say it is, and another example of someone wanting to come in and pick a fight and go, you're a bad man because you've been bust. You know, you make it sound like anybody that goes bust is a bad man. Well, suddenly, and then you get into another conversation and the same person thinks that Richard Branson's a god. You know, you pick and choose, don't you? Let's have a look and see some comments. Let's have a look. Stevie, Dragon Lord, their figures are just hospital deaths. They do mention the fact is hospital deaths, but quickly move on before people notice. Doesn't cover nursing homes, etc. I'll tell you what it doesn't cover. They are not telling you the exact number of the people on the front line that are being contracted the coronavirus, and the frontline staff that have died, and the frontline staff that are okay and back to work. They are not giving those figures, and yet they know the figures. You know, we should have, in 2020, we should have a breakdown. We should have an easy look at all the graphs and all the rest of it they've got. They know these figures. They know exactly how many Sainsbury's staff have died, how many Tesco staff have died. They can isolate it that much. They can tell us how many Summerfield and how many Safeway staff have died. How many of those staff are managers? How many of those staff are shelf stackers? How many of those staff are on the tills? They know this. They could tell us right here, right now, what the percentages are of, if you're working on filling shelves in Sainsbury's, then the risk of you catching the virus is 72%, and if you work on the tills in Sainsbury's, then the risk of you catching the virus is 85%, or whatever it is. I'm not saying those are the percentages, by the way. Just saying. That information is there. They can give us that information. Steve is quite right, and they're not. And they've been asked again and again and put on the spot how many nursing staff, how many nurses, how many doctors have died, how many are going off sick. They won't answer the question. They cannot answer the question, because to do so would cause panic in you. That's why. Because the moment they do that, people are going to realise how many lives are at risk here, and what's going on, and what's safe and what's not safe. That's a nice message from Nanny Sue. Hi everyone, I haven't already said hello to, hope you are all keeping well. Nanny's sending a little bit of love out of her bucket to everybody on there. Little silver lining of coronavirus. Pandas mate in lockdown at Hong Kong Zoo after 10 years. Oh well, yeah. Perhaps because they haven't got everybody's beady eye on them. That's good, that is. Nigel Webster, 7 minutes ago, why not set up a fundraiser to sue Facebook now? I am so angry at what Facebook has done, and a lot of social media. They have taken the place of dictators. I can't be the only person that realises this. They have taken the place of dictators. They are now dictating what we watch, what we see, who we listen to, who we don't. It's outrageous. And yes, I would love to sue them, but who's going to put money into that? Who's going to put money into anything I do? So, you know, what I will be doing when I do eventually speak to the solicitor is I should be saying to the solicitor, okay, we've got 288 Group, we've got the Royal Mint, we've got Facebook, we've got this going on. I need you to evaluate all of those and tell me which one is the easiest and the fastest one to sue. That's the only option I'm going to have when it comes down to it. And if that's Facebook, that's Facebook. But there should be, and there will be, I kid you not, there will be a class action lawsuit in America. There will be. There will be a class action lawsuit that goes over after Facebook over this. Multiply my issue by loads of other people. I mean, you've got Dragon Law Coins there. Has Steve not got the basic human right, the legal right, to go onto Facebook and go, right, I'm stuck at home, my business is not very well, I haven't got any money coming in, I need to do everything I can, I'm going to write a post, I'm going to go and join 100 groups to do with coins, and I'm going to write a post to try and sell my stuff, and I'm going to post that to those 100 groups. What is wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing wrong with that. If the rules within Facebook allow him to join those 100 groups in the first place, then how can the rules stop him from posting to those 100 groups? What they've done with this clampdown is they have taken control. And therefore, I believe, if you take control over me in any way whatsoever, you are taking some kind of responsibility. You have to take some kind of responsibility. if you are controlling something within my life. And if something goes wrong, you've got to take responsibility. I would love to be one of the first people to sue Facebook, but I don't think any of you would want to put a single penny into that. Otherwise I would. You know, so to answer Nigel's question, again, a great idea, but it's an idea that I can wake up and smell the roses and look at myself in the mirror and go, yeah, it's not exactly an idea they're going to buy into though, is it? So I think that will probably be out. The only people that will want to buy into that idea, I believe, will not be the likes of you and me, it will be the likes of you and me, of people like Steve or other businesses like that go ahead and try and do something to save their business, and then come under the same blocks, happen to see a couple of my posts that tell people the same thing, and maybe get in touch and say, listen Ian, you're right, they've affected me too, I want to do something about it. At which point maybe we can get something going, you know, if there's a few people that come forward. No staff, Nigel, no staff from Safeways or Summerfields have died. I don't believe that. Sorry, Nigel. You know, we all have our own little belief systems. How many people work for Summerfield? How many people work for, what was the other one? Safeways. You're going to tell me that what? So Safeways and Summerfields, have they got some kind of magical device on their entrances that keeps the virus out? Or are we to assume, and this is not me being sarcastic at you, by the way, are we to assume, for example, that because it's Safeways and because it's Summerfield, the virus won't go in? The virus doesn't care. And the virus will attack anybody that is not protected. If that virus is in the vicinity and I am not protected, it's having me. If it's in the vicinity of you and you are not protected, it's going to have you. And if we've got a couple of 100,000 people already that have contracted the virus, and everybody that's been contracted the virus, remember what they've been told, go home, everybody go home, self-isolate, and only go out and do your shopping and your meds and your exercise and so on. These people that have got the virus at home, they still need their shopping. Do you think they're all going to go to online and have their shopping delivered? I don't think so. And you might want to wait a bit, Nigel, because I sort of know where you're going, and I got an inkling, I know sort of where this conversation might be going, and if you want to be in that area, then that's cool, but you know, have a bit of patience. We're talking about one thing at a time, so before you want to throw another bit of dirt at me or throw something else at me, do you know what I mean? Let me answer one question at a time. So no, I don't believe for 1 second, and unless every Safeway and every Summerfield store is closed, I do not believe that those staff will not catch the virus. It is childish for anybody to assume that that a section of the community is going to be left alone by the virus. Hold on, lads. Wait a minute. Don't go in there. It's Safeways. Summerfields. Look, there's a sign, Summerfields. That means we can't go in, where we die as soon as we go through the door. Don't think so. I think if that virus is on my shoulder, on there, wherever it might be, I think it's still going to be on me when I walk through the door into Safeways and Sainsbury's. And we are not getting any statistics of the people that are dying, that are on the front line, and I feel so sorry for them. If no staff from Safeways or Summerfield have died at the moment, Nigel, that's because they've been very lucky. Expect to see some numbers coming in. The only numbers they count are those that have died in hospital, mainly, I assume, from intensive care. Every other COVID death not added to their figures at this time. Real figures once over. Absolutely right. And that's when you get the real figures. And the day I said 10,000 dead and they said 5,000 dead, I will be closer to the real figure. Hi Mark, nice to see you mate. Send some of that back to the family. Bit of love from my bucket. Give mum a big hug from me. Why do you think I don't have and don't want Facebook? Yeah, you see, get it. There's a lot of people don't like it, and the only way you can protest against them is to come off Facebook. I fancy my protest a bit better. I'm going to muck up their algorithms so they don't earn anything out of me. Safeway and Summerfields are no longer trading. Ah, that's why maybe no one in Safeway and Summerfields are going to get the virus. Nice one. Were you ever successful in suing your local paper or your local council? No, I wasn't, Nigel, because I didn't have the money to sue them. That's why most people are unsuccessful in suing people, because they don't have the money to sue them. It costs a lot of money to sue somebody. Knowing that it costs a lot of money to sue somebody, that's why I don't mind saying what I've got to say, because if 288 don't like it, they can sue me. Hello Jason, nice to see you popping in. I think Nigel is being sarcastic, as I believe Safeways and Summerfield are no more. They have been taken over by other companies. Let's make something a little bit clear. What we have here is a little bit of a situation going on where me, as well as some of you out there, are not quite sure where Nigel's coming from. Is Nigel being sarcastic? Is he taking a sharp stick? Is he? Is he going like that? Is that? Well, just in case, Nigel, for the first time in quite some time, you can say what the hell you want. So if some of this stuff that you're trying to, if it's leading somewhere, don't airy-fairy around. You don't need to, right? Chris and Lorna are not going to delete you and block you just because you call me a crook today. You want to call me a crook? Call me a crook. Anybody out there wants to call me a crook and they're sitting on their hands desperate to call me a crook and a bastard and all the rest of it, you can do it. They ain't going to delete you for it. You put up a comment and I will answer it. So if you want to poke with a stick, if you want to bring up any of my past, if you want to delve into my history, if you want to throw a load of mud and shit at my face, now's the time. I've had a couple of days off. I can take it today. I wouldn't have took it the other day, but I can take it today. So crack on. That's what I've come on for today. I've come on for anybody to come on and just say whatever they want to say, instead of all the little digs and sarcasms and little maybe, well, just see if I can slot this in to wind him up and all the rest of it. You can hit me with whatever you want to hit me with. I don't care. I've got nothing to hide. And when I say I don't care, take a look. I don't care. Got it? So, if you want to have a proper conversation and throw something at me, let's have it. Let's not go round the houses. Let's just have it. If I'm wrong and that's not what you're setting out to do, then I humbly apologise. But at the moment, I'm a little bit unsure who's a friend and who's a foe. It's a bit difficult, especially when you've had people really, really close enough to stand next to you, put a dirty great knife in your back, or one of them over your head. So forgive me if I sort of do come down a little bit heavy or come down and snap at somebody in a answer, and maybe that person wasn't having a dig. That's all right, just say so. But, it is a little bit difficult to try and read between the lines of what people are writing and what people are saying. If you want to say something, say something. Do you know what I mean? A lot better. And while you're thinking of something to ask me, because I'm sure a couple of you are desperate to, then give it some. Otherwise, if you ain't got nothing to say, then you ain't got nothing to say. I'm going to have chuff. And also, let me say, I was quite rightly advised not to do this today. 3 people that I trust very, very much, and I don't want you 3 people to think that I belittle that in any way. 3 people I trust very, 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 very much told me this morning, it's not a good idea, Ian. It's not a good idea. But I just feel, just for the one day, I just feel we should allow those floodgates to open and allow someone to come in and call me out if they want to. Rather than have it in the comments where you can't have a discussion. So you go, when people go leaving bitchy and nasty comments in the comment section, people do that because they're a little bit, what are they? Maybe they have an issue maybe with confrontation. That's all I can think of. But coming here now, any of those people happen to be watching now that have left the bitchy comments before, well, now's a good time to leave the same bitchy comment again, but get an answer. Because if you're the sort of person that likes to make bitchy comments and not actually speak to the person and have a conversation with the person that you're being bitchy about, well, then if you're a man, you're not much of a man. If you're a woman, I don't know what the equivalent of that is. Maybe Lorna will tell me, or one of the girls will tell me, or Judith, or whatever, you know, however you talk to women. But a man will say to a man, well, you ain't much of a man then, are you? I don't know if you can say that to a woman, you ain't much of a woman. You know, but so today I thought, well, no, we've got to give everybody a chance to say what they've got to say. And if someone thinks that I'm out of order, if someone thinks I've done something I shouldn't have done, if someone thinks I'm doing something illegal, well, then they can say. Sorry, just adjusting my corset. And my theory is that when you give people that opportunity, like Lorna just said, they won't take it. That's my theory. And I think that the 3 people that were giving me the right advice, and I say it was the right advice, telling me not to do it, I think they were giving me that advice because they're worried about my health, they're worried about my mental state, they're worried about how I'm going to handle it, and they're worried that the stream will descend into some kind of absolute chaos. And my theory is what I just said, and Lorna just echoed it in a way, is that not a lot of people will. Not a lot of people have the courage of their convictions to go all the way. Not a lot of their people have the courage of their convictions to say what they want to say. So, that was the idea of Roundabout today. And I noticed the comment stream's gone a bit quiet. How is Fran and Casper? Well, from what I read, dogs actually pick up on body language of humans. They know your body language. So they know when you're upset, they know when you're not right, they know when you're angry, and all the rest of it, you know. So he's a bit, what's the word? He's a bit unsure on some days because the complete vibe of the house, as in any of you who've got pets, the complete vibe in your house has changed. The whole vibe, the whole feel of the house has changed, isn't it? And the pets will pick up on that. So that's affecting him a little bit. Fran is struggling because it is affecting, it's affecting our life. So thank you for asking. It's difficult for anybody out there. And I always say, you know, you mustn't grumble, because there's always somebody in a worse position than you. And no matter how bad things are for me, there'll be other people in a worse position. I had a very encouraging message from one of you that are watching now, and I know you're watching, who is also one of my investors, and not a small investor either. And he sent me a very encouraging message, letting me know that he too had gone bust and owed 56 grand, and went down the administration order route, and it took him years and years and years to pay that back. And he knows exactly the position that I'm in now and what I'm facing. And as he knows, it's not a pleasant one, and I respect and appreciate that. Thank you very much. You know, so it's not like everybody wants to string you up. There's only a few people want to string me up. Hello, it's Casper's. Come say hello, Casper. Get a little bit of love, then you go out again. He's come to check on me. He does. He does. He does come to check on me. He's an amazing animal. He's absolutely an amazing animal. Hello, Jim. Now, before we start, no, Judith, don't go and do that. I know what you're thinking of doing. And the answer's no, because you'll get me in trouble. I got in a lot of trouble last time, so no sending money on the super chat paymenty thingy jobby, saying get Casper a TREAT. I can't even say the word. All right, because you get me in trouble. I learnt my lesson. Yeah, I learnt mine and all. Boy, did I get told off. Casper. Fuck, it's gone upstairs. I'm still here, just having a chuff a sec. Right then. Ian, do you want us to leave you alone, or can we still contact you? Not to do with coins, but just to say hi, as when we are customers, that's one thing, but I've come to regard you and others as friends. No, that's cool. That's cool. It's just that, I may not be able to answer always as quickly. Somebody was talking to me, and I ended up talking to them on Friday, and then I didn't pick up my phone all weekend. You know, so sometimes I'll be doing that, but I would just like to say on here, thank you again for my coins. No worry, Judith. I'm glad to be able to have sorted that out. So yeah, so no problem with that at all. I do answer every message eventually. It's just that sometimes some of them might be a bit longer than others. Might take me a little while to get around to it. I think a bit of subliminals needed, don't you? So we need to make out. Should we go on a jaunt? And we'll make a little cup of tea. Make one for me, and we'll make one for you. I know this has got nothing to do with anything, but I had a lovely meatloaf last night. She makes a spanking meatloaf. And you can think of a couple of questions while I'm making one. Or you can just watch me make a cup of tea. Judith, got to go, take care everyone. See you later, Judith. Jim Bone, what's in meatloaf? Minced meat and a bit of breadcrumbs, some onions. That's about it, really. You know, just like you'd make a burger, because I have my homemade burgers. So we'll have minced meat and then Fran will make homemade burgers with it. And it's literally, you just clump the meat together and fry it and you've got a lovely homemade burger. Put it in a meatloaf, in a loaf tin, a little mini loaf tin. Comes out like a little loaf. I'm telling them
my cooking secrets.
I'm telling them how easy it is. Someone asked, what's in the meatloaf?
Meat.
And I said, mince. I might be wrong, see? I said mince, breadcrumbs, onions. Anything else? Oh. Secret stuff? Can't tell you.
Egg.
Oh, egg. An egg.
And Worcester sauce.
And Worcester sauce.
And bacon wrapped around it.
And mix it all up. Right, put it in a loaf tin. So, minced meat, breadcrumbs, and egg. I'm on the live.
Oh.
Minced meat, breadcrumbs, and egg. What did we say? Onions.
Worcester sauce.
Worcester sauce. Mix it all up. Stick it in a loaf tin.
Wrap it with bacon.
Put a load of bacon over the top. Back it in the oven. And when it comes out, it is a meal to die for, especially when you have mashed potatoes and gravy and some greens. I have to really sort of limit myself when she makes a meatloaf, because I can eat too much of it and then I'm meatloafed out for like weeks. Anyway. Lorna says hello, Fran.
Hello, Lorna. Hope
Stevie,
you're keeping safe, honey.
Stevie says spices and herbs too. Do you put spices and herbs in it?
No.
No.
Bit of salt and pepper.
Bit of salt and pepper.
Worcester sauce.
Worcester sauce. Other than that, whatever you want to taste.
If you want to be posh, stick a bit of parsley in.
Nanny Sue says hello, Fran, and Angela says, all right, Fran, so tell us what's Ian like, really. How's Ian doing, really?
Well, hello, Nanny Sue. And how's Ian do, really?
Angela, that was.
He's really struggling, Angela.
Bit of struggling going on.
I use that term very lightly, I think.
Yeah, it was a nice cup of tea.
He's a very stoic person who doesn't let it show. Thank you very much.
Thank you. She's always called me a monolith. Because I don't let things show too much. M&S used to make a spanking meatloaf, then they changed it to some sweet tasting yuck. I never tried that one. Ian Funny Craddock Lamb, but yeah, I have to start learning to cook. Love Worcester sauce. Worcester sauce in stuff is quite nice. I put that in a shepherd's pie. I give a good old few shakes of the old Worcester sauce in a shepherd's pie. I'm glad he's got me. Glad he's got you, Fran, says Angela. I'm glad I got her too. Had a popcorn. She said she went back out in the garden. Lovely day out there in the garden. In English, everyone, Ian is not doing too well. No. No, on a personal level, I've been trying to sort of be a bit honest with how I've been feeling and stuff like that on the lives. But even then, you see, I've got to be too careful, because if I start talking about, oh, I've been having a few problems with my stoma, or oh yeah, I've got a few problems with this, then I'm going to get, you know, people coming on, and then they'll be belittling that and telling me I'm using this and I'm using that. So, you know, and I don't ask for sympathy from anybody. I don't ask for sympathy for anything to do with my health. I deal with it the way it is. I always take the view, it is what it is. I just got it with a train, I'll deal with it. And the same in business. And the same with my health. I work until I can't work. Like when I had the heart attacks, I worked. Had heart attacks, didn't know it, carried on working. Was having a heart attack, stopped work, went to the hospital. Had a stent put in while I was having the heart attack. A couple of hours in the hospital, come home, go back to work. It's all I know how to do. I don't ask for any sympathy from that, because it doesn't deserve any sympathy. It's just that when you're it's difficult sometimes, and sometimes it's a bit difficult for people to understand, but when you are the one that's employing people, when you're paying their wages, when you've got people looking to you in your office, in your house, or all over the place online, you've got people looking to you, they're looking to you for answers, they're looking to you for instruction, they're looking to you to what to do. And it was me that dealt with everybody all the time. So I'm the hub. I deal with Chris, Lorna, Richard and Butch. And then these people go off and they do their things, what they're doing for us, and I deal with Mick and Katie and Lisa and it was Roger and so many other people, as well as John and Logan and Kelly and that kind of thing. So you have all of these people when you're the one that's running it, or when you're the one that's paying the wages when it's your business. You have all of these people all doing stuff, and all of these people are all looking to you to know what to do next. They need to know what direction you're going in, they need to know what it is that they're supposed to be doing, and they want to try and do whatever they're doing to the best of their ability, but they can't do that unless sometimes they talk to you and you're supposed to be off work sick. Can't do it. There is no going off work sick when you're self-employed, not unless you've got a lot of money. Because all of this stuff still needs to carry on, and somebody needs to be at the top dealing with it all. Well, of course, the next person down from me is John. Is John. And again, and John's the same. You know, he's a bit stoic. He's a bit like me. He doesn't ask for, and he's not interested in getting any sympathy from anybody for his health. He knows. He deals with it his way, and his way is not too dissimilar from mine. He deals with it as in, well, I've got cancer. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, no, I don't want to die. Like nobody wants to die, but I've got cancer. I'm going to die probably within the next couple of years. And he deals with it in his own way. I can't then go off sick and hand everything down to him in the state he's in. Ordinarily, that's what would have happened. But for those that don't know, weren't here, don't remember, whatever, the first one to get ill was John. He got ill first. So he ended up having a few months off. Then he got to coming back, because if I used to call him a walking dead man, because he looked like he was he'd be gone within a couple of weeks. And I tried to get him back to work, give him something to live for, give him something to, I used to say to him, give him something to do, it's no good sitting there at home. And then he managed to get back to work, and then he started getting back to work, and he was enjoying it, and boom, I went ill. Now, that is not the position and the time to make that person now second in command deal with everything. Can't. It's not fair. It's not right. And no one else could. No one else could, because it was me that's been dealing with everybody. You know. So that made it virtually impossible to all that kind of stuff. So there was no choice. I have to carry on. I have to be here, and I have to be there to answer the phone, to speak to somebody. you know, and all that. So so it's not because I'm any kind of like super Ian, you know, it's because I'm no different to Stevie Boy. If Steve had half a dozen employees and 20 people around the world helping him, and he got ill, and there's no one else to just sort of deal with everybody, then you're in trouble. And that put us in trouble, and the rest is history, as you say. The weird thing is, when you stop or retire, it ends up killing you. Strange. Yeah, one of the reasons I don't want to stop fighting for something or other. My life, not fighting for anything at all, Jim, would be a boring old do, I think. And you know, I probably would. It's true. You see these people. I mean, and people in certain jobs as well, like police officers and that, you see somebody and they'll put 20, 30 years in, and you know, then they go home at 60 and they've got all these big plans to do some gardening and have an allotment and all the rest of it, and they dig the thing over and have a heart attack and die. You get used to a certain level of stress. I've had stress for more years than I can remember. Have you thought about emailing Martin Lewis to ask if there's anything he knows that being discussed with the government that might help your situation going forward? I haven't, but I keep abreast of the news and what the government offers and what the government says and what they keep coming out with, etc. Bit subliminal. And so they're going to give every business that's got rateable value, which means a separate business premises, 10 grand. So that Fran comes under that. However, although she comes under that, her business is a small building, but there's two of them that rent it between them. So Fran has half for her therapy and the other person has half for, he does proper massage and massage therapy and all that kind of thing. So the two of them together rent the one premises. So even though you've got two businesses in the one premises, you've only got the one payment. So they won't get 10 grand each because they're not two different premises. So they get 10 grand payment, which will be automatically paid by backs in probably a few weeks' time. And they'll get a 10 grand payment. That 10 grand payment will be for the pair of them. And that will be to put towards their rent, because they've still got to pay rent for the place that they're in. Their landlord doesn't give them free rent because of the coronavirus. So they've still got to pay their rent and all the rest of it. So, you know, that 5 grand is not going to last long each. Pardon me. But at least they get that. And that will help, as they both understand, it will help pay off, you know, a couple of months' rent, and maybe pay the electric and the water and all that kind of stuff for like a few months. So that might keep those wolves away from the door. I can't get that because I'm in my house. I have no rates to pay. So on the one hand, I, you know, took advantage of the fact that if I work from home, I haven't got to pay business rates like a lot of other people. Like Steve, you know, working from home, doing his Dragon Lord coins, as opposed to going into town and renting a shop. He's working from home. Take advantage of the fact that he hasn't got to pay business internet, he hasn't got to pay business rates, he hasn't got to pay business electric, business water. And you know, all the business ones, they're always more expensive. The water's more expensive, the electric's more expensive, the gas is more expensive, telephone is more expensive, and the internet is more expensive. All of these things are more expensive for a business use as opposed to private use. So as I say, even someone like Steve works from home, right? So like me, we have something in common there. We work from home in order to save costs, like a lot of other people. So all the people that work from home like me don't come into the automatic payment. You don't get one. Whether they will bring something out for people like us, that remains to be seen. So far, I haven't seen anything. Then you've got the 80%. Well, the 80% are based on certain proofs. So 80% applies to Logan and Kelly, but we haven't found a way yet for the 80% to apply to John, because John wasn't on PAYE. He'd gone off the PAYE. We took him off the PAYE when he got ill, and therefore the only real actual wages he's had is the 90 odd pound a week that he got for the sick benefit, for the sick pay that we paid him. So at the moment, it looks like the only 80% John can get is 80% of the 90 odd quid. So that leaves me, and I don't come into the 80% because I wasn't earning enough. So even though they're saying that they will base it over the last 3 years and they base it on your profits, etc., well, for me, self-employed, it depends on what they constitute profits and what they constitute loss. My business is not like any other business out there. It's different. The makeup is different, the setup is different. So I don't tick the boxes. And that's the trouble when you try and do, things like what they're doing at the moment, is there are always going to be people that don't tick the box. Now, some other countries have done it differently, and they are sending every single person a cheque for $1,200 or this or that. And they're taking the money direct to the people. We don't like doing that in this country. In this country, we like giving the money to the money. We give the money to the banks, and then we try and trust the banks to give it to the people, which they don't do, and they keep a lot of it for themselves. The aristocracy and all the rest of it. Don't get me started on that. These people in power, these politicians, they've all got their fingers in the pies. Jacob Rees-Mogg, I had a lot of respect for that man. But his company is immediately on it, out touting for business based on profiteering on the coronavirus. His company, which is an investment company, is already working on identifying which companies are going to take the biggest hit, which companies are going to take the biggest, make the biggest profits, which ones are going to make the biggest losses. And these are the people that we put in there to run our country, and all they do is, right, Jacob Rees-Mogg in his investment company. So as a politician, Jacob Rees-Mogg, and this is just one of them, right? This is not the only one, this is just one of them. So you have people like him, like I said, I did have a lot of respect for him, who work in government making the rules and deciding which one of these companies gets which government contracts. And then people like him are allowed to own investment businesses or have shares in investment businesses. And those investment businesses, well, of course, they make their money by taking a gamble on this and that and shares and one thing and another. So when Jacob Rees-Mogg knows in a private meeting that these companies are going to start getting some government contracts, he can go back and tell his mates at his investment company, and his investment company can get on the blower and go ringing people up and going, hey, Chris, good company for you to invest some money in here because we're going to give them a multi-million-pound government contract. And all that kind of dealing is all wrong. But it seems it's okay because we, the British public, who know that they do this, are quite happy to let them get away with it. Quite happy. Gives my goat a shepherd, it does.
Never take up golf. Kills folk off when they retire.
I had 2 brand new sets of golf clubs. 2. Brand spanking new. Neither set did a single club touch a blade of grass before they both got nicked. So I gave up.
He mentioned yesterday that talks are happening about those that have slipped through the system.
There'll be a lot of people slipping through the system. There'll be a lot of people getting money they shouldn't be getting. There's a lot of businesses that are just sort of closed down, not used properly. The people that are about to get £10,000 payments again and again and again and again and again and again and again. I mean, think of someone that's got 10 little units or 10 big units.
Do you wish that you hadn't started doing the YouTube lives and auctions, etc.? Do you think the business would still be going had you just kept selling the coins? I'm not trying to be sarcastic.
You're so lovely. I like you a lot, Angela. I can be asked anything. I'm not going to jump on anybody and go, "Oh, you're being sarcastic." It's like I'll give anybody the answer they want. And no, I don't think you're being sarcastic.
Just let me think about that for a second.
I was thinking about that exact question this morning, as it happens, Angela. And I was thinking, do I wish, how do I feel about everything that's happened? Not quite the way you put it, but in a sort of a roundabout way, because it was like, would anything be different? Would anything have changed? If I hadn't gone on doing the lives, if I hadn't gone on doing the coin jockey thing, if we hadn't evolved into that community and that almost 24 hours, wasn't it, at one point? I can't say that I regret it because to have never done it means that I would never have interacted with the likes of, say, Steve Fraser that I have. Dealing and talking to people on a comment is a lot different to sort of talking and meeting people. So we would never have, if I'd never have gone down that road, then I also have to think about that and go, well, then I never would have gone to the Mint. That wouldn't have happened. And I wouldn't have got to meet Steve and everybody that I got to meet at the Mint. So would I want to take that away? And it's like, no, that's quite a special thing in my memory, I think. I think it's something I'll be able to sort of, I'll always have. I really enjoyed it. It meant a lot to me. And I wouldn't want to take that away. And a lot of things like that, a lot of things have happened with yourself and with Rebecca, and there's Danielle and Lorna and Chris. There's too many of you that I've ended up interacting with that wouldn't have happened. Bit sliding doors, isn't it? If no one's seen the film Sliding Doors, as a film to watch while you're on this lockdown, Sliding Doors, good film to watch. How easy it is for life to go in a different direction. And what could happen? If it had gone that way, and Sliding Doors is all about the woman runs for the tube train. Now in one scene, she runs for the tube train and she misses the train. So now she's missed the train, she's late for wherever she was going, and her life now is going to be slightly different, right? And then it cuts to another scene where she's running for the same train again, but this time she catches the train. So now the movie goes off in a part of, okay, if she'd have caught that train, this is what would have happened, but because she missed the train, this is what would have happened. You've got sort of two, And I don't know whether it was the right move to make or the wrong move to make. It came with its own set of problems. And I know a lot of people won't believe this, but it actually doesn't matter that it was coins. It doesn't matter that it was non-con and all the things that happened with all the different people. It doesn't matter that it was coins. What I can absolutely promise you is probably the same thing would have happened if we were all into gardening, talking about tomato plants, if it was 10-pin bowling, if it was darts, if it was stamp collecting, if we were all ephemera collectors, mug collectors, if whatever, you know where I'm going, right? So it doesn't matter, I don't think. I think what happened would happen with any kind of community that went along that route. Videos, people interact with each other. People then have mannerisms, people then have annoyances, that winds other people up. Then you get to a point where you start getting bits of argy-bargy going on. I never liked too much argy-bargy because I always see argy-bargy as a doorman. I always see argy-bargy starts off all right, and then it ends up with someone going a little bit too far, and then someone gets their nose put out of joint and then gets offended, and then things kick off. So I don't think it would have mattered what the product was. I think anybody doing that, and if anybody went and did that exact same thing that we did on YouTube and did it with China dolls that they make and the community surrounding China dolls, I think exactly the same thing would happen. Sooner or later, dynamics being what they are, they kick off, people argue with each other, people row with each other, people fall out of each other, splits happen, people try to take friends away, and all of that. You know, I don't think it makes any difference. No different to a marriage going tits up, is it really? Bits of it and all. When people have been together for years, suddenly the marriage splits up. People that you thought were friends for years suddenly ain't. Oh, they're your partner's friends, they're not your friends anymore. Oh, they're your friends, they're not your partner's friends anymore. You know, all that. So I don't regret it, because I wouldn't want to be without some of the good experiences that I've had. You know, really good experiences. Some of the things, people that I've met, Rebecca. And if you're watching, Rebecca, thank you very much. Rebecca, I don't think she'll mind me saying, Rebecca got in touch with me, and she knows I need a thing to put my iPad on a stand, and she said, give me an Amazon link, and I'll buy you the stand, because I just won myself a voucher. And I thought that was really lovely, but I felt it just didn't feel right to just sort of go, yeah, here's a link, this is what I'd like, thanks very much. And so I couldn't, and I didn't. It didn't put her off. So because I didn't do that, she sent me the voucher instead and said, make sure you go and order it. I just think that was really lovely. And I've met, you know, and seen, like you, some of you, ardent, you diehards that are there, that have been around for quite some time. You've seen some really nice stuff going on, you know. Would you, you know, I mean, I could almost ask you the question, couldn't I? I could almost say the same thing to you lot and put it over to you and go, in hindsight, do you regret it? In hindsight, if you could click a button and delete all of this, would you? In hindsight, would you? Or would you stop and go, yeah, I will. Oh, hang on a minute. No, because that means deleting that, and that means deleting that, and that was really, I like that. You see what I mean? Because a lot of you have experienced some really cool and nice stuff from each other. You see what I mean? We had a blast at the Mint, loved it. It was great, I loved it. I loved meeting you, Steve. I loved having a drink and having a crack with everybody. It really was great. I enjoyed it thoroughly. So, no, don't regret it at all. And this is something that actually a few people ain't going to get right now. And that is, and I was having this conversation with someone this morning. It doesn't matter if I've got 20 grand in the bank. It doesn't matter if I had 50 grand in the bank. It doesn't matter. I mean, I keep saying I can't, in all honesty, blame the virus because we were spiralling downwards and, you know, we were in serious trouble. And we all know that. You know that. I know that. But I can blame the virus for tipping me over the edge. But supposing I wasn't spiralling downwards, let's just for a minute think we were doing all right or we were going upwards. Supposing we were going upwards and I had 20 grand in the bank. I think the thing that some people are not getting is that it don't matter. The customers would still lose out, the investors would still lose out, and I'd still go bust. Because whether I was going up or whether I was going down, I cannot trade. I cannot post, I cannot sell. Even if the website was there. Even if you could go on and spend £5 on coins, I can't take your money, I can't post you the £5 worth of coins. Unless I suddenly make the site 10 or 15 quid minimum delivery and send everything by courier parcel. And even then, for one person to do 4 people's jobs is a bit difficult. So I think some people are not getting the fact that actually it doesn't matter whether I was on an upward or a downward spiral. The virus would have killed us off anyway. The virus would have finished us. And the only difference being I would be fighting for longer, but I'd be fighting against the virus, etc. Or I would have 20 grand in the bank to suddenly take down the solicitors and say, there you go, now get them 2 in the court. Do you know what I mean? But it wouldn't be making any difference to the situation that we're in, and I don't think it would make any difference to the conversations that we're having. And it certainly wouldn't make any difference to the people that don't understand and the haters and the whatevers, because they would still be posting their unpleasantness regardless. So whilst at the same time I don't blame the virus, I do blame the virus and on the fact that it finished us off, but it doesn't matter whether or not we were healthy or not healthy, the virus was going to kill us anyway. And there's been too much now going against us. So it's like, you know, we're trying to get in a race and we've got bricks and we've got a rucksack on and people are putting bricks in a rucksack, slowing us down, stopping us putting obstacles in front of us, not allowing us to use Facebook, all this sort of stuff. Lorna says, no, I wouldn't change it for the world, made really good friends. There you go. And that's what I thought. Jason says, I like the daily shows. I like the daily live shows, but miss the coin updates from before and coin guides. Well, yeah, I've had a few people say that, Jason. And you see, the thing about that is, when I give you information about a coin, when I tell you these coins are the ones you want to be looking for, these coins you want to be the ones that you put money into, and I write a guide and all that kind of thing. It went down a storm, it went down a tree. People liked it, people like you liked it. But now we're in the situation that we're in. So, let's be honest. It doesn't matter what the coin is. Whatever the coin might be, could be anything. But if we pick a coin, and I say to you, this is a coin to buy, this is something to put your money into, you ain't going to do it. Why would you take any notice of me now? And that is the point. There was a time, Steve, I know you won't mind me saying this because I don't mean this in a negative or a detrimental way towards you whatsoever. I love you to bits, I think you're great, you know. But I will use Steve as an ideal example if you let me, Steve, because I think Steve is a perfect example of this. there was a time where no matter what the coin is, I said, if I said it's worth money, it's worth your time putting your money into that coin. Trust me on that. Buy that coin. Steve would have been one of the first people to open his wallet, get his card out and go and buy that coin. Whether that was buying it off me or whether I told him to buy it off somebody else, he'd be one of the first people to get his card out of his wallet and go and buy it. Because Ian said so. And Ian knows what he's talking about. I followed Ian for a little while, like what he says. He knows what he's talking about. Ian tells me to go and buy that coin. I'm going to go and buy it. That was the attitude that Steve had. Then we had a load of shit hit the fan. Then we had Christmas. And I think if Steve was going to be honest with himself and me and us, I don't think, because of the tarnishedness, because of the way that my credibility got tarnished and my reputation got tarnished, and therefore my word is tarnished, and therefore what I've got to say is tarnished, then people like Steve got to a point, at some point, I can't tell you when that point was, but at some point they got to a point where they wasn't as quick to get their card out of their wallet and go and do what Ian said. Would that be a fair analogy, Steve? You know, that's not putting anything on people like Steve, but it's just trying to explain that when you have your credibility tarnished, and people were acting and doing and spending on what you say, the minute what you say is in question and is now trashed in a way, the less people are going to look at you and go, oh yeah, I'm still going to do what you say. I'm still going to put my money into what you say. If you see what I mean. Bless your heart, Steve. But hopefully you know what I mean. You know. Hello, Carrick. It makes a difference. And it makes a huge difference. And I can prove the truth in it. I can prove the truth in it. When I offered, when I didn't know what to do, I didn't know whether or not to take any kind of, shall I take legal action against the Mint to our group? Shall we do something about this or not? What shall I do? And if you remember, I did a video and I said, I don't know what to do. 7 people must have broken thumbs. Hit the like, says Carrick. Thank you. 7 of you, hit the thumbs up or hit the thumbs down. And if you're going to hit the thumbs down, then at least come in and say why. Have the courage of your convictions, and I will respect that. I forgot what I was saying now. You'll have to remind me. I lost my thread. Time for a bit of subliminal. Yeah, completely lost my thread now. Where I was going. Yep, can't even follow on. Popped. Oh yeah, we was talking about the thumbs down. So somebody's give us a thumbs down. That's nice, cool, thank you. So we said, go on, give us a thumbs down if you don't want to give us a thumbs up, and you give us a thumbs down. Now come on and tell us why. I gave you a thumbs down because that would be a nice thing to do. Give us a conversation piece. Or not. So I now have forgotten, I've lost my train of thought now, where I was going with it. And you don't want to watch me sort of sitting here saying nothing. Come on in, think of something to say. do regret, as it happens, some of the decisions I made, some of the things I tried. I don't regret the COAs. I think that's a brilliant idea. That idea will be picked up by Ian Glenn, I'm sure, at some point, or the Royal Mint. But I think the COAs was a brilliant idea. And I think us going under is going to mean everything to do with the Great British Coin Hunt will eventually become collectible, I suppose, because if the Great British Coin Hunt no longer exists, you know, it's like everything to do with Birmingham Mint or Heat and Mint. That's the old pennies, the old big pennies that you used to get, and used to get a H on them, which is Heat and Mint. And Heat and Mint was Birmingham Mint, and Birmingham Mint was put out of business by the Royal Mint, and rather unfairly too. But anything to do with Heat and Mint and Birmingham Mint is now collectible, because, you know, even their office chairs. Please read the question above, Ian. I didn't know I missed one. And for what it's worth, I'm trying to set up all that I do with the coins on advice that you give. Couldn't do it without you. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Look at the message above. Why are you so thoughtful to others but so tough on yourself? Sorry you said any questions, and I've been thinking a lot about you and the coin community lately. Now. As long as we don't start getting too deep and meaningful here, because otherwise you're going to have me blubbing, and I don't want to be blubbing. I have to be careful. I wouldn't have said I was, is the honest answer to that. So, yeah, I wouldn't have said I was that thoughtful to others. I don't think I think that much about others. I mean, I have to, I need myself. I find it difficult. People. Not making much sense here, am I? So this morning, I've got a phone call from Marbles. Credit card. And they're chasing me for a couple of grand on a credit card. And I'll move the camera away from that. Too noisy. So I've got a phone call this morning from Marbles credit card, couple of grand I owe them. I don't care. I don't care. I actually don't care. As in, I have nothing will keep me awake at night. There is nothing on a conscience of any kind that will make me feel bad that I've gone bust owing Marbles credit card a couple of grand. I literally don't care. You make your money out of charging a lot of interest. This is the chance you take when you lend people money. You're a big business. There is nothing human about you whatsoever. And as a business, you're one of those businesses that will take advantage of every loophole and every law anyway. So do I care that I've gone bust on you, owing you 2 grand? No, I don't. And I wouldn't lose a moment's sleep over it. But if I go bust owing someone like Angela or Nanny for 20 quid, keep me awake at night. So people. I don't think that makes me any extra special or anything like that. It's just, you know, I view people a bit differently to the way I view business. And to a certain degree, you know, there's this thing about business can afford to lose it, but a person can't. And I suppose it's all to do with personal lines and everything, isn't it? You know, there's lines that I will cross. I don't mind sailing close to the wind in some respects, and there are lines that I just won't cross, no matter what. There are lines where I'm not for sale at any price. But I do appreciate it. Nice cup of tea. I'd make you all a cup of tea, but you're not here. Go out and take a cup of tea, shall we? Lovely day out here. I was going to come out here and do the video.
You still up?
Yeah. Made you a cup of tea. Taking you away from your housework, if I could. You said on your, so I answered Angela's one, got that one. You said on your video last night you're finding it harder to sort Neil and Judith. Do you want to speak after the stream to discuss the ideas? Ah, yes. No, that's because think I've got to have something in my head. I've got an idea, sort of. I've got an idea, but it's only going to work if I can give this idea and go, right, this is the options. You've got that, that, or that. And people go, okay, I'll take that. So I've just got to try and figure out, I just want to get my head straight on how I'm going to start making, I know I'm talking a bit cryptically, but I want to get my head straight on how I'm going to start making the right offers and the right deals in order to solve the issue. What I'm not going to be able to do is I'm not going to be able to let people pick and choose. I'm going to have to come up with, at the moment what I'm thinking of is I would say to somebody, I owe you this much, I'll offer you this value coin parcel, this value stamp parcel, this value print parcel. What do you want? And then someone might go, okay, I'll have that value coins, or I'll have that value stamps, or whatever. That's the only thing I can think of at the minute. So having a chat to you after this stream today probably won't do me or you any good, only from the point of view that I've got to try and come up with a one-size-fits-all policy, which is not always easy, in order for me to be able to go to people and say, right, and then I can say on the camera, right, this is a deal I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to offer. What I can promise you, though, is that I'm not going to settle anybody else until I've settled you and Ailey. You first, Ailey second. Those are the two people I'm doing in order. I'm not putting anyone else on the list of anything whatsoever. Anybody that I do owe money to, and you see this video, whether you're an investor or whatever, and you want to do some kind of a deal, I'm happy to do some kind of a deal. But it's going to be on this basis. So whatever deal I come up with for Nanny, and I go, Nanny, this is a deal that I'm offering, right? And if Nanny goes, I don't like any of them, then I'm not going to have any choice but to probably move on and go, okay, Nanny, we'll have to come back to you then. Right, next person, this is what I'm offering. And because it'll be a one-size-fits-all, and what I've got to be really careful of, I've got to be really careful that I don't treat anybody too differently. Because if I start treating people too independently, too individual, too differently, I'm going to get in trouble and I'm going to go to prison, and I don't want that. So I've got to be really careful with how I push this, and really careful with how I go towards whatever lines, legalities and things like that. So if I can come up with a way that is a one-size-fits-all, then I'm going to try and do that. There is something worth mentioning, actually. I will mention, there is something worth mentioning before I go. And that is the potential of what's to come. So, at the moment, I'm beat. You know I'm beat, I know I'm beat at the moment. However, my brain being what it is, it tells me that logically it's safe. No worries, Nanny. I will talk to you probably this week. If not this week, definitely after the weekend. But we will talk and we will start the ball rolling. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, there could be a silver lining. Pardon me. And that silver lining is that part of the money that's been used from investment that I've had has been used to pay people to sit there and sort coins. And so over a period of years, I built up the kind of stock that I've built up, and like the penny cupboard that I've shown you, that kind of thing. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of them all dated, everything. So one of the things that my head tells me is that this is going to give a lot of people worldwide a conversation piece within government about whether or not their country should now go cashless. The cashless question is going to come priority. And I think the reason it's going to become priority is because it is too easy to spread a virus. You know, the minute you get something like this virus or the Spanish flu or the Black Death or, you know, a chemical agent that people, a terrorist brings in, whatever it might be, any kind of virus that spreads the way it spreads is going to attach itself to anything, clothing, money, whatever. So to get rid of money would be a sensible thing to do right now. If we are going to take the virus issue seriously as a nation, getting rid of cash, by the way, is not something I want to do. But I can see from a governmental point of view, if you're on the table of people at the top, the writing is on the wall for coins, says Stephen. Absolutely, I believe it is. And it would not surprise me to find that before any of you have had a chance to get back after this virus scare has all been over, because at the moment none of you can go down to banks and post offices and get bags of change. If you can, you're very lucky, because they won't give it to anybody. Even if you've got a business account, they won't give it to you unless you're a key worker. So I think before this is all finished with, there's a very strong chance that they will do away with cash or announce that they're going to do away with cash altogether. And I think there's but there's too much money to be made out of the commemorative coin market. So, you know, they may keep certain coin. But I think this is almost, this is, Fran hates it when I go, oh, it's guaranteed. I think this is a good time for them to be able to get rid of the penny and the 2p and the 5p. There's no need for it in our society anymore. There's no need for it in our shops anymore. It would make no difference if something was priced at 99p or 90p or a pound. Make no difference. So I can't see that the penny or the 2p or the 5p has any use anymore. Final nail in the coffin for coinage, yeah. Now, if any of that happens, and obviously, because we've now got people like Stephen there coming in and saying the same thing, obviously I'm not the only people that can see that kind of writing on the wall. If they were to suddenly take away pennies and 2p's, that would be a game changer overnight. That would be a game changer. See, when they took the pound coins out of the system, or when they took the old money out of the system, we all got notice. And therefore, lots of people went down, like they thought they would, and got loads of 1967 pennies and half pennies and chucked them in the loft. And half crowns and all that kind of stuff. People bought them and chucked them in the loft. People put a lot of money into the pound coins. Pound coins were going out of circulation. Okay, but then you had this glut right? They're going out of circulation, so everybody goes mad for it. Then they go out of circulation, and then suddenly you find that, oh, there's loads of people now trying to sell it and cash in on it, which they don't, and then the price plummeted on the pounds. Edinburgh at 25 quid, going all the way down to 4 quid. But if they suddenly take all that away, they do it at a time when we're all at home, where you haven't got the opportunity of nipping down a bank and having 50 quid's worth of it and chucking it in the loft. You ain't going to get that opportunity. And so it will come out of circulation, and it will come out of circulation before we've, even though it will take months, it sort of will and it sort of won't. You know, there are 100 million pounds worth of pennies in circulation, but everything's come to a standstill now. So you've no longer got this in and out, money in transit. It's all stopped. And you've got a lot of money sitting in a lot of cash centres, and if they suddenly said, it's time to get rid of the penny and the 2 penny, there would be so many of them out of the system within a couple of months, you wouldn't believe it. And in a situation like that, that to me is a silver lining, because you've still got all the people that will, the manufacturers, when they start up again, you've got all the coin manufacturers, the jewellery manufacturers, all these people, and they're going to still want their product when they go back to work. They're still going to want the coins that they buy in their hundreds and thousands to make the products that they make. I mean, there's a product in America, for example, you know, and when they sell this product, this game, it comes with a couple of English coins, and we're talking about, you know, these people, they buy 20,000 English coins a year just for that one game. They're going to be buggered. They came to me to sell them, to buy them off me at one point, but they wanted so many, I couldn't handle the kind of order that they wanted. I mean, we were talking, you know, 50, 100,000, 250,000 coins. And I couldn't have handled the kind of order that they wanted at the price they wanted it, so I turned it down. But it will then become a seller's market. And if at that time I've still got a cupboard full of 100,000 or whatever it is that I've got, then that turns into quite a lot of money. So every dark cloud could have a little silver lining. The virus might, pardon me, a bit subliminal, the virus might be the death of me, in one way. Then in another way, Ian Glenn, remember, 288 Group, they were going to buy a lot of their lower value change from us. They were going to buy 1p, 2p, 5, 10, 20 from us. They were looking at buying it off us instead of the mint. He promised to buy it off us, he just never did. Led me out the garden path there. However, there will be a lot of that business to be had, and the only people that are going to get that business are the people that are sitting there with the change. So for as long as I can keep hold of that change, the better. Things might turn around then. But there's a thing that I bet none of you thought of. I bet none of you have been sitting there thinking, oh, by the time this is all over, there might not be any copper. So everything happens for a reason. We just don't know what the reason is yet. Yeah, I'm one of them. Nanny, I think everything happens for a reason. I met Fran on a blind date and we've been together ever since. Neither of us knew the other one, hadn't met each other before, completely blind, set up by somebody else. 21 years later, we're still together. And she ain't killed me yet. And are you all thinking about the stuff that you're touching? I'm just wiping my phone. So like I said, this morning I went to the garage to buy a packet of fags and some milk. And I bought the cigarettes and the milk. And the lady behind the counter's got no protective equipment, no nothing, no gloves, no sprays, no mask, no nothing. So that means that she could serve someone that's got the virus, they could give her money, I get my change, I come home with the virus, or the product because she's touched the product, and all that kind of thing. And it has to be almost guaranteed that there are going to be people like me at home, like you at home, isolating, minding your own business, taking every precaution going, and all you've got to do is just go and pick up one product that somebody's touched, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be touching the money unless I'd sprayed it. Certainly without any gloves on. And it's only 7 years for murder. Exactly. Fran would have got away with it and all. Well, we've had 116 minutes and neither me or Chris thought this would last an hour. So there you go. But we'll call it a day there, I reckon. 2 hours, I reckon that's well enough. It's a beautiful day. Get outside in the sunshine if you're not out there already. That's where I'm going now. I'm still not doing much work this week. I'm not doing hardly anything. I'm taking as much time off as I can. I intend to do more work when the weather gets bad. When it starts raining and stuff, I'm going to do more work inside. But until then, for my own health, mental health, benefit, etc., I'm taking advantage of the sun and I'm spending some time in the garden, spending some time with Fran, which I'm enjoying. And I am purposefully just heaving that off my shoulders and going, I'm just not dealing with it. I can't anyway, there's so much I can't deal with, so I'm just not. And I don't think there's any rush anyway. I mean, you know, yes I owe money, yes I owe product, yes I've got to figure out ways to sort all of this out. It ain't going to happen in 10 minutes. What can you wipe your coins with safely without ruining them? I don't know if hand sanitizer's got anything in it, you know, but the minute you start using cleaning materials, that's it. You might as well stick it in tomato sauce or some Coke or something, you know, if you're going to start cleaning them. There isn't. If hand sanitizer doesn't have an abrasiveness in it, then you could use that. But I tell you what I did, quite simply, I come home, I've got my change in my hand, so I put the change on the side and I said to Fran, unless you absolutely need that money, leave it there for a few days. Just leave it there. It's metal and it stays on metal for 3 or 4 days. So leave it there, I put it on the side, we'll just leave it there. I took the cellophane packet off all my cigarettes and then I washed my hands. What else can you do? Thank you very much, Lorna. Thank you very much for being there, and thank you, Chris, for being there, and thank all of you for turning up, everybody. And I appreciate it very, very much. And for those that want to come on, and you know, if you've got something to say and it's maybe not too pleasant, but it needs to be heard by me, I'm quite happy for that. Let's come on and let's deal with things. All right then. Thank you very much, everybody, and I'm going out in the sunshine. Have a lovely day.